Okay, let's go ahead and get started, folks, just to give Kelly enough time for a presentation. And then as people trickle in, they'll have to catch up or watch the video later. You've probably seen me before. I'm Laszlo Yakashowski, business analyst in DLSS's library systems. The presenter today will be Kelly Roll, who is from the Education Library, currently library-less and floating around the campus, but still having education in her heart.
Yes, definitely.
So with that, I will go ahead and turn it over to Kelly and let her go and start her presentation.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the things that I think of as item maintenance in our current system. So these would be things such as you receive a new book. How do you deal with the new book? Something has come back and has been remarked, or DataControl has fixed some item bibliographic information on it. How do we send materials out to say DataControl or collection care? And I'm also going to discuss bulk edit, which of all the things in Folio, I am actually extremely excited about. So without further ado, I'm going to attempt to share my screen and we'll start going through the slides, and I will switch back and forth between the slides and Folio itself. So let me make my first attempt at screen sharing. And of course, I do not see, oh dear, I see inventory test in Folio, but I am not seeing my.
If you look in the Zoom link, you should see in the bottom the green button. It says share screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And I can see a lot of other screens except for the one that I need, of course.
Huh?
So that is not what I want.
Usually if you open up that, there should be a, I think, upper left corner says screen 1. That will show your full desktop.
Okay.
And then you can just open.
There we go. Thank you, Laszlo.
Sure.
So I'm going to mention a little bit of some of the things that we hope to accomplish today in today's training. This would include receiving items that might be in process or returned from collection care data control, batch updates for material going into or out of temporary locations, and then in-house correction. These would include things like adding an item note, adding piece count, adding enumeration. And then, as I mentioned before, record collection, including involvement of other departments, material departing your library but staying here at Stanford, and then material that is actually going elsewhere. It's not within the Folio community, as it were. And last but not least, we're going to talk a little bit about somebody brings a book up to the desk and the record exists in Folio and the record does not exist in Folio. Fortunately, just from speaking to some other ops managers, this seems to be very rare these days. So hopefully we don't even have to worry about it. So the first thing I'm going to do is, because everything we're going to do today pretty much involves inventory, is just remind you what inventory is and how to get to where you need to go. So for this, I'm actually hopefully going to click over into Folio test. And you can see here that I've obviously been doing a little playing this morning. So normally you'll find inventory either in the bar here or in a pull down. So I'm going to just click on inventory. And in this case, most likely you're going to have the item in hand. So you can use item and then select barcode And then I was just telling Laszlo, my barcode scanner isn't working, so we are doing things very old school. And I'll be typing today. Sorry about that. Okay. And so the correct instance record shows up for what I want because I searched by barcode. And then usually we're going to be working with individual items. So you want to click on the holdings accordion. And then to do your work, you're going to click on the individual barcode and go to actions and edit. So I'm not going to repeat these steps as we go through, just sort of keep that in the back of your mind. And also, if you have a new book and you want to check to make sure the title, author, series information is all correct, I personally find it much easier to go up to actions and view source. So you get a nice looking marked bibliographic record. Okay, so switching back to inventory app, we've sort of already covered that. So now I'm going to talk about receiving material. So if the item is new, it's going to have an item status of in process. In order to get rid of that item in process status, you simply click on check in and check the item in, and that item status disappears. So if it's a new book, once again, you're going to have to check all your bibliographic information, and then just switching very quickly back over to Barry Song. I have not yet checked this in, so you can see the status is still in process. If I were to discharge this, that in process is going to disappear. And then there are things that I need to check while I'm in here. And one of those is material type. We won't go into a lot of detail today, but material type needs to be checked. Whether it has pieces or not. The loan type, is it circulating, non-circulating? And for Coverly in particular, we have different types of loan types. So for us, it might not be can circulate. It might actually be Currix short loan 7. For Earth Sciences, they have some very expensive materials. It might be lock stack expensive. So just keep that in mind. But so far, everything looks great. So I don't really have to do anything except discharge it to remove the in process. So from here, just make sure that, as I say, your holdings look good, your loan type looks good, and material type looks good. So sometimes you need to add a piece count, for example, or an item note, or, and I believe this might be unique to Green Library, you might need to edit enumeration. So item notes can be, and it takes a while to get used to looking at the inventory record. So item notes can be found about 2/3 of the way down the screen. You would go to your section called item notes, write whatever item note you need after selecting the type of note, and we'll go into this in just a minute, and then save and close when you're finished. Piece count can also be found about 2/3 of the way down, and piece count I think is fairly straightforward. You put in the total number of pieces and add information if desired. And then finally, enumeration. Green Library in particular adds information about their individual newspapers so that they can determine what has been received. And now I'm going to go back to Folio, and we're going to do all three of those things. Well, I am going to change my book now because I want to add an item note, and I want to make sure my piece count is correct. So once again, I have it. I have the piece in hand, so I'm going to use barcode. I'm going to go over here and click on this item. So I'm going to click here, and over here in the corner, I'm going to click on edit. So I'm going to scroll about 2/3 of the way down here, and you can see that I have number of pieces. This particular item happens to have 13, and Coverly has weird stuff. It's not just a CD-ROM. It's going to be transparencies. It's going to be slides. It could be an audio tape. So we definitely want our students to know what it is that they're checking out. So we actually are going to use this. You don't have to, it's optional. And since it's already there, I'm like, okay, that's fine. You could, if you needed to, also put in the number of missing pieces. Fortunately, we're good on this. So item notes, you can see that it's slightly below piece count. So if I click on that, I can add a note. And in this case, I'm going to use Circ staff note. And I'm just going to put and then the public does not need to see this note. So I'm going to click on staff. And then I'm going to go down to the bottom of the screen and click on save and close. Now, enumeration, it was sort of more interesting to me, and I had to sort of figure this out. So I'm going to use the Atlanta Journal Constitution. And I don't want to flail all over the place. So I'm going to make sure that I'm doing Green Libraries newspapers. And by doing that, it crops right up. And then I'm going to go, once again, I pull down the accordion. I'm now going to click on the item barcode. And once again, I'm going to do actions, edit. And then I'm going to come about 1/3 of the way down, and you can see enumeration. So right now, Green Library can tell that they've got from March 1st through May 26th for their Atlanta Journal Constitution. I can then come in here and say, well, actually they've got it through 6/30. And this is test, so I'm not messing around with anything real right now. And then I can save and close on that. So before we move on to the next section, did anyone have any comments or questions?
I do, Kels.
Okay, Roy, what is it?
Do you need a certain format to enter something in your enumeration field? Do we need to follow a certain format?
So, do you already do this at Art?
For workflows, yes, we have a certain format that we follow from DataControl.
Okay, so this is just editing enumeration. I want to emphasize this is not
Okay,
adding a volume for binding.
okay,
So, don't use this to add a new volume to send material to the bindery. So do you have a title that you can give me and we can look at real quick?
oh, not at the moment.
Okay.
Maybe after the meeting.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? I take the silence as I understand everything. All right. I should mention, Tyler already covered this in circulation, but item notes do not show up when you check out. Fortunately, the piece count does, and that was a real concern for art education and earth science in particular, because we all have stuff with multiple items. All right, so that was those three topics. Occasionally, let me keep going down here. We need to send something to another department. So I may have something, for example, that I need to send to DataControl because the record is off, or the call number is wrong. So you're going, once again, you're going to use the inventory app. Go down after you've clicked on the barcode, choose action at the next screen. And then you're going to scroll all the way to the bottom of the screen to where you see temporary location. And in this case, DataControl is called TS maintenance. So you would select that and then remember to save and close it. It's very straightforward procedure. There is one little wrinkle that we're still going to work out. So when we have that wrinkle fixed, I'll send out additional information. But once again, I'll just do a very quick demo. Let me see. I think that night lunch has a problem. So here it is. I'm not happy with what the publisher information says. So I found it. I've gone over to the far right corner. I've clicked on the accordion. Now I'm going to click on the barcode. Click on actions. We're going to edit. And then I'm going to scroll all the way down. And there's lots of locations. So if you just happen to remember, they're in Sewell. And so we're going to find Sewell TS maintenance. Save and close. So now if you happen to be looking for this, somebody comes up to the shelf and really wants to use night lunch, you can go, okay, I'm sorry, it's off in another department, but we'll help you find another copy. You know, the usual stuff we do at the desk. Now, I mentioned that bulk edit is actually one of my favorite new things in FOLIO. This is useful for a lot of things. It can add or remove temporary location and temporary loan types. So this is going to be extremely useful for when we de-reserve material at the end of the quarter. It's also extremely useful if you have to send a large volume of materials to collection care. So you're going to click on the bulk edit app. Then there are different record identifier types. Most likely you're going to be using inventory items. Then you're going to click on the record identifier. Most likely it's going to be barcode. If you guys love UUID, you can use those. And then this is the important part. You have to have a file in Excel because you're going to import that file into FOLIO. And then not only does it have to be in Excel, but it has to be in CSV, comma delimited format. Now say that 3 times quickly. I have frequently made errors and saved it as Excel format. It won't work. So you get a lovely message saying, okay, I'm working on it. I'm updating the file and retrieving relevant data. After it comes back with the screen in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to click on actions and choose bulk edit. And next screen is going to give 2 boxes, one for options and one for actions. Once you choose those, you're going to click on the confirm changes button. And then at the next screen, click on commit changes. So that seems like a lot of verbiage, but it's actually really straightforward. So I'm going to use Art Library as an example. I'm going to go up here to bulk edit. And you can see that you have a variety of things that you could do. Most of us will never use users. Some of us may use inventory holdings, but I'm going to choose inventory items for the time being. And then I want to use item barcodes. And now I'm going to go choose my file because it's easier for me to do that than to drag and drop it. And Art wants to send a lot of stuff to collection care because it needs to be book jacketed. So I have a little demo here for them. And I will tell you, this has worked for me all week. Now that it's live, there could be problems. So fingers crossed. So it's saying, okay, thinking about it. All right, I'm excited. It actually worked. So these are the 4 items that Roy wants to send for book jacket. I'm going to go to actions. And I have to start the bulk edit. And then I need to tell it, well, what bulk edit is it that I want to do? So I'm going to go here. And I want to do temporary item location. And I'm going to replace it with a new location. So once again, in this case, campus is Stanford Libraries. Sewell is where I want to send it. Location is Sewell Collection Care. So we're going to save and close. I'm going to confirm the changes. I really want this to happen. And yes, I'm committed. I'm committed to the changes. And you can now see that the effective location is no longer Art Stacks, it's Collection Care. So I don't know, I just find this to be very nifty. So I'm now going to go in quickly and I'm going to show you how to remove a temporary location from my reserves. And unfortunately, I've had a bit of a problem with my Excel spreadsheet believing me when I say I want it as number, so I have to go in every time and save it. Okay. All right, so now we're basically going to repeat the exact same thing. I'm going to do, in this case, a new bulk edit. I want inventory items. I want to use item barcode, and I'm going to choose a file. And I'm going to do my reserves demo in CSV. Okay, so right now you see the effective location is education reserves. I want to start a new bulk edit. That's temporary location. In this case, I want to remove or clear the field. I'm going to commit to changes. And you can now see that these have gone back to their correct location. They're no longer in that reserves location. You can notice over here that there's a temporary loan type. I can do a new bulk edit here. And I'm spending a lot of time on this because it's a handy thing to have. So once again, I need to start a new bulk edit. So my option in this case is I want to get rid of that temporary loan type. So I'm choosing temporary loan type. I'm clearing the field, confirming changes. Yep, I'm sure. So now the effective status or the effective location is correct. And the permanent loan type is back to what it was before I placed materials on reserve. So any questions about that?
Can I just comment, Kelly, that
Yes.
so not everybody's going to have access to this app. It really depends on whether you do it as part of your role. So in Folio, everybody gets permissions based on your staff level and additional permissions that you might need to do because you have to have bulk edit, for example. So, you know, if you feel like you need to make this type of change, or it's something that you would regularly do, then confirm that you do have bulk edit. It does show up in your list of apps. If you don't, talk to your manager and then they can work with the Folio permissions group to see that you should get those permissions.
Yes, thank you, Laszlo, for reminding.
No problem.
All right, going back to the slides. This is the thing that I'm hoping none of us will ever have to do. Because we've been on an online system for so long, I suspect that most of our materials is, cross fingers, barcoded with the correct barcode. Oh, Roy, you had a question?
All right, so at the end of the quarter, when we do the bulk edit for course reserves, do we still have to discharge each one of them after the bulk edit changes?
Yes, if they go to a different library, you do want to put those materials in transit.
Okay.
And there will be a whole reserve session.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so when I was talking to Laszlo about item record missing, as a general rule, there's a local procedure for your library when a book comes up with either no barcode or with the barcode, but the barcode isn't being read by the system. So the very first thing you want to do, of course, is look the title up in inventory and then choose the title you believe is correct, double check to make sure all items match the item in hand, then click on the barcode. Now, we have been given strict instructions not to change a barcode due to digitization, I believe. So if you are not allowed to do changing the barcode now in Symphony, you cannot do it here. Data control and metadata will be grumpy with us. I don't want to get on Harold's bad side. So only do this if you are allowed to. A couple of the libraries have their own cataloging peeps, so they may be allowed to do this. But assuming that you can, and once again, I'm going to emphasize that you probably shouldn't and should talk to your data control specialist. You can look at the barcode, click on actions, and under actions, click on edit, scan the barcode in the barcode field. Once again, emphasizing only if you were permitted to do this before. Once you're done, click on save and close. If the item is not found in inventory, we're going to do something that's called fast add. So if you're in inventory, you can click on actions in the upper right-hand corner and you choose a fast add record. There are things that we do fill out. The resource title is a very good place to start. Resource type is probably going to be text. And permanent location, from talking to Jeanette and Harold, we will no longer use. So you want to ignore that for right now. And Harold will correct me at the end of this demonstration if I'm wrong. The things you do not fill out call number type, call number prefix, or call number. You have to put in the barcode. It's not auto-generated like it is in our current system. Material type most likely is going to be book. And permanent loan type is most likely going to be can circulate. Then you're going to click and save and close at the bottom of the screen. And then you're going to have to flag this record so that its return cataloging can create a better record for it once the item is returned. For many of us, that will be using temporary location processor or processing, and then putting a note in the item note saying, when returned, please send this to data control. So let me walk you through these two steps very quickly. Okay, so by now, I hope we all know how to search inventory. So in the first case, I have a book, it's got a barcode, but the barcode's not registering. And in this case, I kind of want it to be in my own library because it is my own book. So effective location is always a good thing to use. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double check to make sure that I have the correct record. So I'm going to view source and look at everything and make sure that everything matches exactly. Okay, things look good. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on the barcode. And only if you are permitted to do so, you can then go in and change the barcode and click on save and close. But once again, changing the barcode is strongly discouraged. So if you cannot do it, contact DataControl. All right, so now I've got a fun little thing that has just come up to my desk, but it has no barcode. So I'm going to go once again to inventory. I'm going to come over here to actions, and I'm going to do a new fast add record. All right. For some reason, Charlie Brown's Christmas has been sitting on our shelf for years. No one has found it until today. So I know that the resource type is text. Permanent location, ignore for now. DataControl has told me that they're going to use holdings. Okay, and then I'm going to come down and type in a barcode. Material type in this case is a book. Permanent loan type is can circulate, but in this case, because it's a curriculum book, I'm going to use correct short loan 7. Okay. And check-in note is kind of annoying. But you do have to add one in this case.
Kelly,
Yes.
can I ask a question?
Yes.
So talking about the permanent location, so on this screen in the new fast add, the permanent location here is for the holdings, right?
I don't know. I suspect yes, because it's a brand new title. So we can experiment. Let me add as you can see, this is a little fuzzier.
But I think what we decided or the confusion is about the permanent location in the item. So that was the one that they decided we would not use.
Okay, so
So in this screen in the fast add, I see that I haven't used this much, so hopefully I'm not confused, but I see that in the holding section, the permanent location is there, but in the item section, that field is not, available on this screen.
okay, so we can put in permanent location here.
So
all right.
Yeah, so on the records, if my understanding is correct about the current decision, the permanent location will be in the holdings record, but not in the item record.
Okay, then
But
I misunderstood. Excellent. All right, so a wee bit of confusion, but you can put permanent location in holdings. It definitely sounds like that's fine. So I'm going to actually save and close here. Let me grab my barcode. Because what I want to do is I want to go back in and write an item note. So I click on the barcode. I'm going to do actions, edit. And Interesting. So you cannot add an item note to your fast add. So in this case, I'm changing my mind, and check-in note is going to be send to data control. Okay. And I know Coverly would flag this. I know Green Library actually uses photocopies and sends them to data control. I don't know if that's still standard practice or not. So after that demonstration, does anyone have questions?
Hi, Kelly, I have a question.
Good.
So this procedure, so based on what you're saying, this would be used like if you came across something with no record and you need to send it to metadata for cataloging, right?
Yeah, this is a case where a patron has walked up to the desk with it. We don't want to send it to data control first. We want them to be allowed to check out.
Mm-hmm. So they would check it out, and then when it was returned, it would come to us.
Yes.
I see.
And then
could it also be used if the patron didn't need the book, but you just stumbled across it with no record, or would you just, in that case, would you just send it without making a brief record?
I think the better option is to send it without making a record.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because I'm not sure what you all will eventually do on this on your end. You know, in the past in Symphony, you could do a record overlay from OCLC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you all can do that in Folio, or if this would be a case where this would be suppressed and you would create an entire new record.
I agree that if it's coming directly to us, you know, you don't really need to go to the trouble of making this kind of brief record. You could just send it.
Okay. Excellent. And other questions? Are you all totally confused, or you understand everything? And if you don't quite understand everything, you can always contact one of us. I joke around that I do make house calls. I've gone to Art in the past. So let's see in the chat. I don't see anything new, Laszlo.
No, I don't see anything.
Okay. All right.
Just a reminder that if you do come up with questions afterwards, you can certainly reach out to Kelly and I. There is also the Slack Folio support channel that you can ask these types of questions. You can also send an email to the Folio support email address. And that way that will actually create a ticket that'll get responded to by all the analysts or library systems, depending on what it is. So, and Kelly has created documentation for this, which will be shared on the website. Once we have this video edited and uploaded, we'll have the documentation linked to from our training site as well. Yeah. Just general info dump for you there.
And next week, I know it's been on a lot of people's minds. We're going to talk about the theoreticals of adding a volume and sending material either directly to the bindery or to collection care.
All right, folks, if there are no other questions, thank you, Kelly. Thank you for your input, Harold. It's very important to us to make sure we do it correctly. Yeah, and again, if there's any other questions, just pass it on to us. So thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dallas question.
I knew there'd be a question from you, Roy. I was waiting.
Alright. So for items that are multi-piece, do we still need an override code?
There
Piece?
is no override for
But-
multiple piece items.
But when we are checking out multi-piece items, they that will at least like stop it for a minute and say
Yes,
multi-piece items.
yes.
Okay, because some of our videos or media items have multi-piece items, and some of our books in the collection have supplementary pieces.
So do you want me to
So-
reshare my screen correctly and show you an example?
Yeah,
Okay,
that'll be great.
right, and then. Oh, wrong one. Okay, hopefully I'm back on inventory again, correct?
Mhm, mhm.
All right. Okay. Yeah, we were worried about this initially because initially it was not bringing up a confirm multiple piece checkout. It was just checking it
Yeah,
out, but
yeah.
that has been fixed.
Okay,
So yes, it will definitely show up. It's huge. I actually like this a little better than Symphony because it's in your face
all
and
right.
it's going to tell you the number of pieces.
Okay, so this I will jump to user permission on this one. Are the students allowed to go ahead and check that box that says okay to go ahead and check out? Or do we have to be, it has to be a supervisor?
Hang on. Tyler, are you still on the call?
I'm here.
So, do you know if students have the ability to do the checkout?
I don't know permissions for students. I
Okay.
can't help you there.
Okay, so we'll have to get back to you.
Okay, all right. Okay, what was I have another question now.
Okay, I'm glad somebody's asking questions. It's good.
Bulk edit.
Yes.
What kind of user permission should you have in order to have that app? Bulk edit, because Lorna will need one, Jeff will need one.
That might be something that you'll have to ask the permissions group, because Betsy Shelton also needs it.
Yeah,
Pretty much anybody that does book processing or reserves is going to need it.
okay,
So I can double check on that one too. Lazo would have known the answer to this, but he's ducked out. Okay. All
Okay.
right.
all right, I think I'm just gonna go check in with you with bulk edits once more when we get started.
Sure.
Laszlo forwarded me the link to your presentation, so I'm
Okay.
just gonna go read over it. But
Okay.
I don't see Lorna anymore, but okay. All right,
All
guys,
right.
thank you. Thanks for the presentation.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and talk to you later.
All righty.
Okay, bye.
So I'm going to, as it were, hang up unless anybody else has questions. All right. Good luck.
Kelly,
Yes.
this is Don.
Hi,
Don,
Don.
Milton Library. So I have a question in terms of, we now receive the email hold pickup with what somebody's requested. I'm
Yes.
assuming that's still gonna be in place.
For you, I believe we did make you a paging library. So yes, you should still see those.
Yeah. And then basically I'll grab the book from the shelf, right?
Yep.
Be able,
And discharge it to send it in transit.
all I have to do is go into discharge, it'll go into in transit. Now, I use the old slip method still. I don't print my slips out.
Us too. We don't have one of those snazzy printer thingies.
So just continue as before. I don't want one of those snazzy printer things. It works fine with what I got.
Yep.
And well, you answered the other question. All you gotta do is check out.
Yep.
And put it in transit.
Yeah, check in, not check out, but yes. So you pulled it off the shelf and you discharge it, check it in.
Okay, so I want to check it in.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right.
Very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome. All righty. Have a good afternoon, everyone.